practical level, by listening to the smart people around me at Humanities Council's events, I was able to steal some great material for the next day's classes. Nothing gives you more street cred in an AP literature class than to tell your students that the night before you took part in a rollicking conversation about John Donne in your Humanities Council poetry discussion group. That's why it's my great pleasure today to present the Victor R. Swenson Humanities Educator Award. The Council created the Swenson Award in 2003 to honor a Vermont educator each year and to honor Victor Swenson, the Council's first executive director who served the VHC for more than 28 years. The Swenson Award recognizes a Vermont educator who exemplifies excellence in the teaching of the humanities, a person who inspires his or her students and encourages their intellectual curiosity and a lifelong love of learning, possesses extraordinary knowledge, ability, and accomplishment in the teaching of language, literature, history, or other humanities fields, exhibits infectious enthusiasm for his or her subject and learning in general, and embodies a commitment to the highest standards of achievement. The award includes a $1,000 prize. I am pleased to tell you that the 2004 Victor R. Swenson Humanities Educator Award goes to Marlboro Elementary School teacher David Holzapfel. David has taught 5th and 6th grade at Marlboro Elementary School for 25 years. School principal Francie Marbury cites numerous reasons for his success at teaching, including, quote, high expectations for his students, his wry sense of humor, and his passion for the material, which together make him a teacher students remember long after they leave Marlboro School. David's curriculum is based in his belief that students need rich content to sink their teeth into, said Marbury, and that with proper support, they rise to the challenge. Studying medieval Europe, for instance, his students memorize and recite an opening stanza from the Canterbury Tales in Middle English. Another hallmark of David's teaching is his integration of different content areas to enhance students' learning. His classes have used shadow puppetry to portray characters from Greek mythology, and the science fiction of Ray Bradbury to add imagination to the study of astronomy. This is considered innovative and cutting edge at the high school level, but it only makes sense to a teacher like David, who sees the big picture and distills its essence for his students, said Marbury. The learning journey of David's students goes well beyond the classroom. A major component of his 6th grade classes is a week-long field research trip to New York City, the cornerstone of a year of study that includes a focus on immigration to America, as well as students' independent study projects. Students visit Ellis Island and the Tenement Museum, and they take part in other activities related to the immigrant experience. David carefully prepares his students for their independent studies, which culminate in New York City. There, the students meet and learn from people such as a member of the New York Stock Exchange, Central Park's landscape designer, a curator at the Museum of Natural History, a stage manager at the New York City Ballet, and people on the street. David's students also use their learned interviewing skills on his community history project entitled Work in Marlboro, bringing to light the stories of artists, professors, builders, drivers, town officers, and others. Their interviews are archived digitally at the Marlboro Historical Society. Students know they are doing important work and making a contribution to our town's historical record, said Marbury. Though younger students can feel a bit intimidated when first entering David's classroom, Marbury said, they settle in. At the end of 2 years, they move on with a sense of accomplishment and self-confidence. Many of them will someday return to visit David and express their appreciation for all they learned with him. William Butler Yeats said, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. That is true for you, David, and for the other outstanding teachers that inspire and challenge students across Vermont. Thank you for the fine and important work you do, and congratulations.
Victor Swenson Award. I don't know that I work any harder than any other educators around the state, but recognition is always appreciated. I should also add, as James Prestini put it, good students make the teacher look good. I wish to thank the Humanities Council for this honor, for their tireless efforts in bringing scholars, artists, and big ideas into the lives of Vermonters. The Council understands that in the world of ideas, diversity is an indicator of a healthy environment, and we are all its beneficiaries. My deep thanks also to Susan Calabria, Education Curator at the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center, and to Francie Marbury, Principal at the Marlborough School, for putting my name forward. Your support, encouragement, and at times tolerance have always been crucial and much appreciated. The active support of the Marlborough School Board and the generous sustenance provided by the citizens of Marlborough nourish all of us working at the school. As a model of immersive learning, I wish to acknowledge my alma mater, Marlborough College's role in teaching me that sustained focus in an area of study broadens and deepens the pleasures of learning. It is this dedication and delight that I strive to impart to my students. John Dewey, George Merritt, John Holt, Desmond O'Grady, Edmund Brailsford, Bruce Cole, and Connie Barton are among the giants whose ideas and examples have given me a firm toehold in order to climb upon their shoulders. From them, I've learned about teaching, about what coaxes and impels students toward curiosity and why that matters. And for the past 40-some years, I've lived shoulder to shoulder with my partner, my best friend, Michelle, through all kinds of weather. Thank you. There are those educationalists who believe that if we can just get the curriculum and the testing right, kids will learn. Every 6 to 8 years in the decades that I've been teaching, a new educational initiative has been handed down and touted as the solution. The Public School Approval Standards, Bill Bennett. The Vermont State Standards, No Child Left Behind, Adequate Yearly Progress, Race to the Top, and currently the Common Core Standards. And yet the civil wars of public education continue along their ideological and economic fronts. The stakeholders remain the same: beleaguered parents and citizenry, whipsawed teachers and administrators, and anxious bureaucrats. And yet everyone wants the same thing for our children: to be happy, healthy, and educated to fulfill their life destinies as they take on the tasks of advancing the needs and desires of a nation and a planet. Given the dynamism of the battle, is there any wonder that consensus is tenuous? Field research is one of the active muscles of the humanities and is a cornerstone of learning at the Marlborough School through all the grades. Successful field research takes time and dedication, a tremendous amount of planning, support, and trust. Did I mention time? The temporal aspects of learning seem rarely considered by policymakers, and yet we all know that those topics to which we dedicate time are the topics that we truly know. This is immersive learning. To quote educator Ron Berger, today's pressure is towards surface coverage of content to prepare for high-stakes tests. It's growing more difficult to give students the opportunities to use their minds well as critical thinkers, to work as historians, scientists, mathematicians, and writers, end quote. There is simply not enough time for engaged learning within our curriculum-tweaking, standardized test-taking mindset. Is it any wonder then that too many students seem disconnected and bored in school? In addition to deep, active learning, fieldwork instills in students a sense of place. Meaningful interactions with a location and subject matter and work within a community engenders in all of us a sense of belonging, a sense of connection. Field research is hard work for educators in the current climate. But I believe that for all those involved in direct education, students and teachers alike, nothing builds a positive sense of purpose and confidence better than the accomplishment of a difficult task done well.